So I'm going to share with you 3 tips when it comes to storytelling. I suppose traditional kind of analog storytelling to an audience. And my first point on this is going to be that it is not only okay, it's a really good idea to show your audience how you want them to feel. And what I mean by that is that get them to mirror your actions and your behavior. And if you're watching your audience, you'll see this happening. And one of the ways to do that is that if you're getting to a point of a story where it's great fun and there's great joy, or there's a warmth and a love in it, well then be enthusiastic and show them that in your face and in your mannerisms and even the pacing and tone of how you're speaking, and you will see them smiling and giving you back exactly what you're putting out to them. And what you can do with that then is it doesn't just, it works really well with joy, but when you change the pacing in something and you start to consider, or the story is taking a turn, looking away from the audience and not looking directly at them as you figure out the sadness and the tragedy of it, and then make very kind of pointed eye contact with them, that can have a great effect on them when you're relaying sadness. So that's my first tip, you know, is doing that, is show them how you want them to behave. The next thing that I find, and again, this is for me and my style of storytelling, is that, I mean, know your story absolutely inside out, and you can get up there and you can just, you know, absolutely smash delivering a story from beginning to end and come across as so knowledgeable and clever. But for me, what I like to do is I like to go on this journey with the audience. And by that I mean is I like to stand with the audience and unfold the story as we go. So I'm learning with them. I mean, they probably haven't heard this story before. They've probably most certainly never heard you tell this story, but they will feel more comfortable and they will feel probably more clever if they are solving this mystery with you. So as you are kind of exposing the road as you go, and you realize something and you're discovering it with them, they feel like they're part of that as well. And I find that that's really, really helpful. If you're heartbroken in a story and the heartbreak happens, they want to see you feeling and experiencing it for the first time. So that's tip number 2. And tip number 3 is where I have seen so many storytellers mess up. Inexperienced storytellers, but also seasoned storytellers, absolutely make a mess of this. And this is the ending of a story. And it might seem obvious, but let me explain that if you mess up on a story at the beginning, you have all this time to recover. And the further into a story where you kind of make those mistakes, the less recovery time that you have. And if you make that mistake at the very end, you're screwed. There's no recovery time. So what I would say is that you should, of course, as I said, know your story inside out, have picked out your points along the way and choose your end point. Choose that message, that realization, that kind of exposed kind of bit at the end. Choose that and don't compromise on it. If you feel like maybe you haven't captured the audience and you get to your end point, I have seen people tack on bits to the end of stories trying to kind of reclaim it, and it spirals and it goes horribly wrong. So choose your end point, make your way to that bit, and then it's not even just a case of kind of like getting that last message across, because the audience may not know if that's the end. That's where you bring pacing into it. And I find that how you spread out the words at the end of a story make it very easy to let them know that the story has ended. And I just did the thing there at the end. So they're my 3 tips that will help with storytelling. And if you can get them down, it'll help you with a very particular style, but that's just my way of doing things. So if you've any comments or questions on storytelling or about anything to do with anything I've said during this video, just leave a comment below, like, share, whatever the buttons are. Hit all the buttons apart from reporting me or the thumbs down button. And yeah, anyone can tell stories.